The self-assessment tax return deadline falls on the 31st of January every year, but if you file before the deadline date, then you can benefit from 10 advantages when completing your tax return early. Number 1. Get your tax rebate faster. If you're expecting a tax rebate, then you'll only be able to receive this once you've submitted your self-assessment tax return. Processing a tax return can take anywhere between 5 days to 8 weeks, and in some recorded cases even longer. It usually takes the longest in January because HMRC are busy, so the earlier you file your tax return, the sooner you'll receive your tax refund. Number 2. Budget for bills better. Once you've calculated and submitted your tax return, you'll know exactly how much you need to pay to settle your tax bill. This means that the earlier you complete your tax return, the more time you'll have to save up for your bill before it's due to be paid on the 31st of January. HMRC charge you interest on all late tax payments, starting from 5% of the tax owed, so it's definitely worth ensuring you can pay your tax bill on time. Leaving it to the last minute may result in a nasty shock and leave you scrambling to find the funds to pay. Another benefit of filing early is that if your tax bill is less than £3,000 and you complete your tax return by the 30th of December, then you can choose to have your tax liability collected through your tax code on any PAYE income that you have. This means your tax is automatically deducted from your salary or pension, and so you won't have to worry about payments. Number 3. Enjoy your time without a nagging time bomb. Sure, you could leave your tax return to the last minute and try to ignore it for most of the year. Just be sure to not ignore it completely and forget. Unfortunately, the self-assessment tax return deadline is at the end of January, right after Christmas and the New Year, and so many people will start to feel anxious during a time that's meant for festivities and celebrations. Instead, why not get it done and out of the way sooner in the tax year? This will allow you to relax knowing it's all sorted and get on with everything else you'd rather be doing. Number 4. Avoid mistakes and give yourself a chance to correct them in time. If you've left your tax return to the last minute, then you're likely rushing to get it submitted on time. Doing this can lead to mistakes. Did you know that HMRC can charge up to 30% of the tax owed if it finds that you have not taken reasonable care to complete your tax return correctly? Filing early before the deadline will mean having more time to check everything thoroughly, plus even having time to go back and correct any mistakes you may realise you have made. Number 5. Give yourself enough time to get everything you need. Filing a tax return no doubt takes time, but most of the time is often spent preparing documents you need in order to complete it. You may need to collect bank statements, dig out receipts and invoices, check figures on payslips or pension slips, as well as check the dates for all of these. The earlier you start to do this, the more time you'll have to sort through them. Don't forget that some of these may not be readily available and you may have to request them from your bank, or if you've misplaced them, then you'll need to ask for new copies. Number 6. Don't miss out on securing a mortgage or loan. When you're applying for a mortgage or a loan, time is always of the essence. Unfortunately, applying for them can be a long and arduous process. For those who are self-employed, the process can be made even more challenging. As for a mortgage in particular, you will need an SA 302 tax calculation form as proof of your income and earnings. To obtain this, however, you will need to have completed your tax return for the most recent tax year. If you leave your tax return until when you need your SA 302 form, then this will delay your application, as you can only print it out from the HMRC portal 72 hours after you have submitted it. Number 7. Get more time to implement tax planning strategies. Big advantage to completing your tax return as early in the new tax year as you can is that you'll be able to put in place tax-saving strategies right away. For example, if you were to complete your 21-22 tax return on the 10th of April 2022, you would know what your 21-22 tax liability is. If you predict that your 22-23 tax year will be similar in terms of income, then you'll be able to put tax-saving strategies in place right away and benefit from these for the whole 22-23 tax year. Examples of these strategies could be paying into a pension fund, donating to charities, or using ISAs. If you were to leave completing your 21-22 tax return until January 23, then you'll only be able to benefit from any tax-saving strategies for the remaining 2 months of the 22-23 tax year. Number 8. Be able to reach HMRC instead of waiting in a long queue. HMRC offer a helpline to people who are struggling to complete their self-assessment tax return. But this helpline gets busier and busier the closer it gets to the 31st of January. Save yourself the time and stress of waiting in a long queue for up to many hours, or worse yet, the helpline crashing, by speaking to them during the quieter periods of the tax year. Not only that, but you may find that the person on the other end of the phone may be more helpful as they'll be under less pressure to take as many calls. Number 9. Find the right accountant that will provide the support you need. If you've left your self-assessment tax return to the last minute and you're stuck, you might want to turn to an experienced accountant who will be able to help complete your tax return for you. However, depending on how late you have left it, many accountants will not guarantee that they'll be able to help you file by the tax deadline, as they'll prioritise their existing clients first. Leaving your personal tax return to the last minute may therefore mean not finding the right accountant or having to overpay, so it would be better to leave yourself with more time and get your self-assessment tax return done early. Number 10. You want to file your tax return in paper format. If for any reason you would prefer to complete your tax return by paper, then you will need to contact HMRC and request the paper return be sent to you, along with any other additional pages you may need. Alternatively, you can download these forms and print them out yourself to fill in. By completing your tax return in paper format, HMRC will help you calculate the tax owed based on your entries and let you know what your tax bill is. Be aware that if you wish to do this, you will need to ensure your tax return is sent to HMRC by the 31st of October, so you must complete your tax return earlier than the 31st of January deadline. So that's our 10 advantages of completing your self-assessment tax return early. If you need help getting your tax return done, get in touch. Our team are on hand and happy to help. Visit our website or get in touch in 01865 245511. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel or sign up to our email newsletter on our website for tax tips delivered straight to your inbox.